Far beyond the rolling meadows and quiet rivers, there was a kingdom where the stars always shone a little brighter and the moon hung low like a lantern watching over every dreamer. In the heart of this kingdom lived a little princess named Elara. She wasn't like the princesses told in stories of adventure and daring. Elara was gentle, soft-spoken, and happiest when sitting by her window at night, watching the stars blink against the velvet sky. Her castle was tall and glowing, its towers silvered by moonlight. But Elara loved the smallest corners of it best, quiet hallways lined with tapestries, a little garden where night blooms opened their petals, but the cozy alcove where she curled up with her blanket and a candle that flickered like a tiny sun. Tonight was especially quiet in the castle. The halls were still, the torches burned low, and everyone seemed already asleep. Yet Elara could not rest. She pressed her cheek against her pillow and whispered, "I wonder if the stars are awake like me." And as though they had heard her, a faint glow shimmered at the edge of the forest just beyond the castle gate. It wasn't a torch or a lantern, it flickered in soft bursts, like the light of a firefly, only larger and slower. Curious, Elara slipped from her bed, wrapped her velvet cloak around her shoulders, and padded softly through the halls. Her slippers made no sound on the stone floors as she tiptoed past the grand staircase and out into the night. The air was cool and carried the sweet scent of lilacs from the garden. The glow in the distance pulsed again, beckoning her. With careful steps, she crossed the meadow, her cloak trailing in the grass, until she came to the edge of the forest. There, nestled between tall trees, she found the source of the glow. It was not a lantern, not a firefly, but a dragon. A dragon unlike any she had ever imagined. Its scales shimmered like embers cooling after a fire, fading from gold to soft silver. And its wings folded like blankets against its sides. Its chest rose and fell slowly, each breath a quiet sigh that rustled the leaves. The dragon was asleep. A sleepy hum rumbled in its throat, deep but gentle, like the purring of the world itself. Elara's eyes widened, her heart steady but curious. She had heard of dragons in songs and legends, fierce and bold, but this one looked as though it had simply wandered into dreamland itself and decided never to leave. The little princess knelt in the grass, her cloak tucked around her, and whispered softly, "Hello, dragon. Are you dreaming?" The dragon stirred slightly, one great golden eye opening just a crack. It blinked once, slowly, and then closed again, and if it had heard her but was far too tired to answer. Its tail curled closer, brushing gently against the moss. Elara smiled faintly, her voice softer than the breeze. "Don't worry. I'll sit with you until you fall back into your dreams." And so the little princess curled at the edge of the forest, the sleepy dragon resting nearby, the stars above blinking patiently as though they, too, were waiting for what the night would bring. The forest was hushed except for the slow rhythm of the dragon's breathing. The leaves trembled faintly each time its chest rose and fell, as though the whole woodland had tuned itself to the dragon's drowsy sighs. Princess Elara sat quietly with her cloak wrapped around her shoulders, her eyes fixed on the glowing scales that shimmered even in sleep. After a long while, the dragon shifted. Its wings rustled, folding tighter, and one great golden eye opened again, this time fully. The light within it was not fierce or frightening, it was warm, glowing like a lantern lit at dusk. Elara tilted her head, her soft voice barely louder than the whispering grass. "Hello again," she said. "I didn't mean to wake you." The dragon gave a low hum, more like a sigh than a growl, and its great head lowered until it rested in the moss before her. The air stirred gently from its breath, brushing against her cheeks like a warm breeze. When it finally spoke, its voice was deep and unhurried, each word as slow as a lullaby. "You did not wake me, little princess. I have been drifting between sleep and waking for many nights. My dreams no longer come to me, and so I wander, heavy with rest I cannot find." Elara's heart softened. She edged a little closer, careful not to startle it. "You can't sleep? But you look so very tired." The dragon's eyelids drooped, and its tail gave the slowest sweep across the grass. "Dragons dream differently from humans. We carry our dreams like treasures inside our chest, but somewhere, I have misplaced mine. Without them, sleep is shallow, and rest feels far away." Elara leaned her cheek into her palm, thinking, "Maybe that's why you came so close to the castle," she whispered. "Maybe you were hoping someone would notice." The dragon blinked once, emotion so heavy it seemed to take all its strength. "Perhaps, or perhaps I was following the light that shines in your window every night. You sit awake when the kingdom sleep. I thought, maybe you would understand." Elara's cheeks warmed with surprise. She had never imagined anyone, let alone a dragon, had noticed her small candle flickering in the high tower. She smiled softly, her voice steady. "Then it's a good thing you found me. Maybe together we can look for your dreams." The dragon's eye brightened faintly, and for the first time, a rumble rose in its chest that was almost like a purr. "You would help me, little one?" Elara reached out her small hand, her fingers brushing the moss between them. "Of course. Everyone deserves to dream." The forest seemed to sigh with her words. Fireflies drifted down from the branches above, their glow flickering like tiny lanterns gathering around the pair. The dragon lifted its great head slowly, its scales shimmering faintly in their light, and for the first time that night, the weariness in its golden eyes seemed to ease. "Then let us search," the dragon whispered, lowering its wings and shifting its body carefully. "Perhaps my dreams have not been lost. Perhaps they only need a friend to help find them again." Elara rose to her feet, the hem of her cloak brushing the grass. She gave a small nod, her heart calm and certain. "Then I will walk beside you." The dragon stretched, its body unfurling like a great sigh. And together, the little princess and the sleepy dragon turned toward the silver path that wound deeper into the forest. The fireflies floated ahead, their light forming a trail as if dreamland itself had prepared the way. And under the watchful stars, their journey to find the dragon's missing dreams began. The fireflies drifted slowly through the trees, their lights weaving into a gentle ribbon that guided Elara and the dragon deeper into the forest. The air grew cooler, carrying the scent of pine and night blooms, and the ground beneath their feet glowed faintly with scattered patches of moss that sparkled like starlight spilled onto the earth. Elara's cloak trailed behind her, brushing softly through the grass, while the dragon's great steps barely disturbed the ground. Though even the forest wished to cradle its tired body. For a long while, neither of them spoke. The silence was not heavy, it was soothing, filled with the quiet hum of crickets and the distant rush of a stream. Elara glanced up at the dragon, whose golden eyes glowed faintly in the dark. Its wings drooped at its sides, but its steps remained steady, each one carrying the weight of weariness and hope. Finally, they reached a clearing where the trees parted to reveal a wide pond, its surface so still it looked like a polished mirror. The stars above reflected perfectly in the water, twinkling as though another sky had been tucked just beneath its surface. At the edge of the pond grew flowers with silver petals, their blossoms opening only in the moonlight. They bent gently toward the water, their reflections shimmering alongside the stars. Elara knelt at the bank, her eyes wide. "It's beautiful," she whispered, "like we've found the sky's twin." The dragon lowered its head, breathing slowly across the surface. Ripples spread outward, and the reflections wavered, the stars dancing in soft circles. "This is the pool of remembering," the dragon murmured, its voice heavy with recognition. "Long ago, I came here as a hatchling. It is said that if you have lost something of yourself, the water will show you where it went." Elara's heart fluttered. "Then maybe it can show us your dreams." The dragon's golden eyes closed for a moment, then opened again with quiet resolve. "Perhaps." Slowly, it leaned closer, its great snout almost touching the surface. The ripples shimmered, then stilled, then the reflection looking back was not of a weary dragon, then of the same dragon curled in deep sleep, surrounded by shimmering shapes. They weren't jewels or treasures, but glowing orbs of light, dreams, each one pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Elara gasped. "They're here," she whispered. "Your dreams are here, waiting." But as quickly as the image appeared, the reflection shifted. The glowing orbs drifted higher, out of the dragon's reach, floating into the branches of a massive tree that leaned over the far side of the pond. Its bark shimmered silver, and its leaves glowed faintly like tiny lanterns swaying in the night air. The dragon lifted its head, weary but calm. "The dreaming tree," it said softly. "It has caught my dreams, holding them in its branches. It must have kept them safe when I forgot how to rest." Elara turned her gaze to the great tree, its branches stretching far into the sky, the orbs of the dragon's dreams twinkling faintly among its leaves. They pulsed gently, like stars tangled in branches, waiting to be freed. Her voice was steady as she spoke. "Then we'll climb, won't we? We'll reach them together." The dragon gave a slow, rumbling breath that was almost a laugh. "Climb, little princess? For me, it is too high, and my wings are too heavy. But you are small and gentle. The tree may allow you where it would not allow me." Elara's heart thumped, but she nodded bravely. "Then I'll climb for you. If the tree has been guarding your dreams, it will know I've come to return them." The dragon lowered itself to the moss, its eyes glowing warmly. "You would do this for me?" Elara smiled softly, her voice calm. "Of course. You found me when I was lonely at my window. Now I'll help you find your dreams. The dragon closed its eyes briefly, as though her words were a balm, as opened them again, steady and sure. The fireflies drifted closer, their glow forming a faint ladder of light toward the dreaming tree. The pond shimmered with quiet encouragement, and above, the stars twinkled as though they, too, waited for Elara's next step. The little princess rose to her feet, her cloak brushing the moss, her eyes fixed on the glowing tree. And with the sleepy dragon watching, she took her first step toward the branches that held his missing dreams. Elara stood at the foot of the dreaming tree, her cloak pulled softly at her feet, her heart fluttering like a gentle bird. The tree's bark shimmered silver, smooth in some places and ridged in others, glowing faintly as though the moon itself had brushed it with light. Above her, the branches swayed lazily, their lantern-like leaves casting pools of glow across the ground. And nestled among them, she could see them clearly now, the dragon's dreams. Each one hovered in the branches like a little star, round and glowing, some golden, some blue, some faintly rose-colored. They pulsed gently, in and out, as though they were breathing, as though they had been waiting for this moment. Behind her, the dragon lay curled in the moss, its tired eyes lifted toward her. "Take care, little one," it rumbled softly, its voice more like a lullaby than a warning. "The tree is gentle, but it protects what it holds. Climb with kindness, and it will let you pass." Elara reached out and pressed her small hand to the bark. It was warm, not like wood, but like the side of a resting creature. The tree hummed faintly beneath her palm, and the hum seemed to wrap around her heart. "I promise," she whispered, "I've only come to bring the dragon's dreams home." The tree seemed to hear her, for a low vibration trembled through the trunk, and then a soft glow spread upward, and though a path of light was being shown. Taking a deep breath, Elara placed her foot on the first ridge and began to climb. The branches bent slightly to meet her, lowering just enough so that her small hands could reach. The leaves brushed against her hair, leaving trails of cool glow across her cloak, as if they were testing her, sensing the calm in her heart. The higher she went, the softer the air became, filled with the faint scent of honey and dew. Halfway up, a cluster of fireflies joined her, their tiny bodies glowing in rhythm with the orbs above. They floated near her hands, showing her where to step, as if the forest itself was guiding her climb. Elara whispered her thanks with every movement, her voice gentle, her heart steady. At last, she reached the branches where the orbs of dreams swayed. Up close, they were even more beautiful. Each one carried faint shapes inside, clouds drifting like ships, wide meadows glowing under starlight, rivers of fireflies, skies full of constellations. They were soft and comforting, not wild or frightening. As though each dream had been born of peace, Elara reached carefully toward the nearest orb, a golden one pulsing faintly like the dragon's eye. The moment her fingers brushed it, warmth rushed through her hand and up her arm, filling her chest with calm. She saw, just for a moment, a vision of the dragon curled in sleep, safe and happy, with dreams swirling gently around it. Her eyes softened. "You've been waiting to go back," she whispered. "Come with me." The orb drifted willingly into her hands, light but steady, glowing brighter now that it had been touched. One by one, Elara reached for the others, each one greeting her with a faint hum of welcome. A blue orb filled her with the sound of gentle rain on leaves. A rosy one gave her the scent of blooming flowers. A silver one wrapped her in the hush of quiet wings. Each dream slid into her arms until she cradled a bundle of glowing orbs against her chest, warm and pulsing softly, like a basket of little stars. The tree's branches bent lower, easing her descent, the leaves brushing her cloak in farewell. When at last she stepped back onto the moss, her arms full of the dragon's dreams, the ground itself seemed to sigh in relief. The orbs glowed brighter, casting light across the clearing. And the dragon lifted its heavy head, golden eyes wide. "You found them," it rumbled softly, its voice trembling with awe. "You truly found them." Elara smiled, stepping closer. The glow from the dreams lit her face, making her look almost starborn herself. "They weren't lost," she said gently. "They were only waiting to be remembered." The dragon lowered its head until it rested at her feet, its eyes closing as though the weight of sleepless nights was already lifting. The orbs in Elara's arms pulsed in unison, ready to return to the one who had carried them for so long. Elara knelt in the soft moss, the glowing orbs of dreams cradled carefully in her arms. They pulsed gently against her, warm and steady. As though each one had its own tiny heartbeat, the dragon's golden eyes watched her with a mixture of hope and exhaustion, their glow dim but flickering brighter with every breath. "Are you ready?" Elara whispered, her voice calm and kind. The dragon lowered its great head, its snout brushing the earth before her, its eyelids already heavy. "I have been ready for many nights, little princess," it rumbled softly, "but I could not find them alone. Only with your heart beside me have they returned." Elara smiled faintly, her fingers tightening around the glowing orbs. One by one, she lifted them toward the dragon's chest. As each orb touched its shimmering scales, it dissolved like mist, slipping gently into the dragon as though it had always belonged there. The first orb melted into its chest with a soft golden glow, and the dragon let out a sigh so deep it rustled the leaves of the trees. The second sank in with the sound of soft rain, and the dragon's tail curled loosely, the tension leaving it. The third entered with the scent of flowers, and its wings drooped lower, no longer restless. Orb by orb, Elara returned them, each one a piece of peace, a fragment of rest. As the last orb disappeared, the dragon shivered once. Then still, a glow spread gently through its body, traveling from its chest out to the tips of its wings, as though it had been lit softly from within. Its breathing slowed, steady and calm, no longer restless but deep and even. The dragon's voice came again, low and drowsy, like the murmur of a lullaby. "My dreams, they are whole again. I feel them humming, soft and endless, like the songs I had forgotten." Elara reached out and brushed her small hand against its nose. Its scales were warm, like sunlit stone. "Though the night air was cool, you'll be able to sleep now," she whispered, "and dream as you should." The dragon's eyes blinked once, heavily, though sliding shut. "Yes, and in those dreams, I will see you, little princess, a friend who lit the way back home." The clearing grew quieter still, as though the whole forest was holding its breath. Fireflies hovered above, circling slowly, their glow gentler than ever. The pool of remembering shimmered faintly, reflecting the dragon's glow as if proud of what had been returned. The dreaming tree swayed softly, its leaves brushing one another like hands applauding in whispers. Elara settled back onto her heels, watching as the dragon's breaths became long and steady, its body curled in comfort for the first time in countless nights. She pulled her cloak tighter around herself, feeling the warmth of the dragon's dreams lingering against her chest. Her eyes grew heavy too, her heart full of peace. The moon above drifted lower, painting the clearing in silver. Around her, the night hushed into stillness, wrapping everything in calm. Elara rested her head against the dragon's side, its steady rhythm like a lullaby against her cheek. And as the sleepy dragon drifted into its first true rest in ages, the little princess felt herself being carried towards slumber as well, safe and warm beneath the stars. The dragon slept, truly slept, its body curled into the moss like a mountain at rest, its chest rising and falling in a rhythm so steady it could have been the heartbeat of the forest itself. Each breath it released was soft and warm, curling into the night air like mist, carrying the faint glow of dreams now safely tucked inside its heart. Elara sat beside it for a while, her little hand resting against its scales, listening to the deep rumble of its slumber. She felt proud, not with the loud pride of victory, but with the gentle pride of knowing she had helped someone find peace. The fireflies dimmed their light to match the dragon's breathing, pulsing slow and calm. The dreaming tree swayed gently in the breeze, its leaves brushing together like the whisper of a lullaby. Even the pool of remembering seemed to glow softer, as if it too had settled into a quiet dream. The little princess pulled her cloak around her shoulders, the velvet soft against her cheek. Her eyes grew heavier with each passing moment, the hush of the forest wrapping around her like a blanket. She knew she couldn't stay all night, her grandmother would worry if she did, but she also knew the dragon was safe now. It had its dreams back, it had its rest. She stood slowly, brushing the moss from her cloak. "Good night, dragon," she whispered, her voice hushed as though she didn't want to disturb its slumber. "Sleep well and dream deeply." The dragon stirred faintly, one golden eye opening just enough to glimmer in the moonlight. "Good night, little princess," it murmured, its voice so soft it was almost part of the breeze. "You will always live in my dreams." Elara smiled, her heart glowing as warmly as the orbs she had returned. She turned toward the path, and the fireflies floated gently ahead, guiding her steps. The forest was quieter now, calmer, as though it too had gone to bed. Each step felt softer, as if the moss was tucking her feet in as she walked. When she reached the meadow, the castle rose in the distance, its towers bathed in silver light. The stars above blinked slowly, the moon dipping lower, as though dreamland itself was preparing to close its eyes. Elara's slippers barely made a sound on the grass as she crossed the field, her cloak trailing softly behind her. She slipped back through the quiet castle halls, the torches burning low, the silence deep. In her chamber, her bed waited, the blankets fluffed like clouds, her pillow cool and soft. Elara crawled beneath the covers, pulling them up to her chin. For the first time that night, her eyes closed without resistance. And in her dreams, she saw the dragon curled peacefully in the forest, its golden eyes shining with gratitude, its body glowing with light from within. She dreamed of fireflies weaving glowing trails through the trees, of the dreaming tree swaying gently in the moonlight, of a pool that remembered everything but kept it safe until the moment was right. She dreamed of being small and gentle, yet strong enough to bring back peace. And in those dreams, she never felt alone. The castle slept, the forest slept, the dragon slept, and Elara, the little princess, drifted deeper into slumber than she ever had before, her heart filled with calm. And as the story closed, the night whispered not only to Elara but to every child listening, "You are safe. You are loved. You are brave in your gentleness. And you are ready for the sweetest dreams tonight." The moon lowered. The stars blinked once more, then steadied. And everything, princess,